Hi, welcome back to EducateTube.com. My name is Sipsky, your host. In this video, I want to talk about the Mavic Mini 3 Pro that DJI will be releasing sometime in end of April or early May. Hopefully no further than mid-May. Now this is the last drone I would like to invest in because it's a micro drone weighing less than 250 grams. It's been the drone that I've been eyeing for. Now I know DJI came out with the Mini and Mini 2, but it's not satisfying to me because it's not the one that I wanted. I wanted something that will have optical avoidance, have active track, and a bigger sensor. And this Mavic Mini 3 Pro has that specs. The only thing is, of course, it's a bit expensive. As you can see, I have these three drones already, the Mavic Air version 1, the Mavic 2 Pro, and the Phantom 4 Pro V2. These are amazing drones. That's why I haven't been upgrading. But the Mavic Mini 3 Pro is a different league altogether. Now the pricing, a little bit high, but I'm willing to pay for it if it fits the film style that I'm filming. So let's talk about it right now. Alright, so let's talk about the Mavic Mini 3 Pro. This is going to be an amazing micro drone, a drone that's weighing less than 250 grams. I was looking forward to this drone for the longest time. It's been almost 2 years actually since I invested in my other three drones, and I was just looking for the perfect final drone to fit my final collection of drones. As you can see, I have the Mavic Air 1 and the Mavic Pro 2, as well as the Phantom 4 Pro V2. These are amazing drones. I didn't need to upgrade to Air 2 or Air 2S or the Mavic 3. It was that just specific Mavic Mini micro drones. But when DJI came out with the version 1 and version 2, I wasn't really happy with it because it didn't have this optical avoidance or active track that I was wanting, being able to follow me when I'm walking and all that, and be able to film me closer than 30 meters. For example, I have a basic pilot license, and these three drones, I cannot, in Canada anyway, I cannot fly closer than 30 meters, right? So I need a drone, a micro drone that allows to come closer and be able to film me, as you can see, this composition as close as that, okay? So allow it to follow me as I walk. And it also can film in 4K 60, so I can actually zoom in 4 times on a 1080p timeline. So this is a great feature. Now let me go through the amazing feature on this micro drone, the DJI Mini 3 Pro. And I think you'll agree with me that this is going to be an amazing drone. Of course, the price is a little bit high. It depends on your needs and how you're going to film it. I think this is the drone, for me anyway, what I want, and I'm willing to pay for it as long as it's not like overly pricey, right? And we'll still have to wait for the Canadian version of this drone, how much it's going to cost. But let me go through the 5 or 6 things that I'm going to really enjoy it. And I'm going to tell you why I will buy it because of the 6 reasons. And I'm going to tell you why I'm going to delay it for a bit. Okay, so let's go through its specs. So number 1, it has a big sensor. It has 1/1.3 sensor size camera. Now compared to my Mavic 1, the Mavic Air 1, it's definitely bigger than this drone. 1/2.8 for the Mavic Air version 1, and the Mini Pro 3 is huge, right? Compared to the 1/2.8 versus 1/1.3. So the sensor size is big. Not only that, the aperture is really wide. It's at f1.7, which is going to bring in a lot of light. So you have a bigger sensor and a wider aperture. That's going to bring more light into the camera, especially when you're filming at night. That's going to be great for low light filming. Number 2, of course, I already mentioned that it weighs less than 250 grams, so it's a micro drone. So for those of you in Canada who haven't got their basic pilot license, you can fly it, but just be smart about it. Fly it safely, okay? So that's the only rule in Canada for when you have a micro drone, that you need to fly these drones safely. My other 3 drone, even the Mavic Air version 1, I already have my basic pilot license, but I cannot fly closer than 30 meters. But this micro drone may allow me to fly closer than 30 meters, which will give me a composition of shot like similar to I'm talking to you right now, very close. So with that zoom in, 4K camera to 1080p timeline, I'm able to, even when it's 10 meters away, maybe able to capture this type of image, which is great. And number 3 is that it has active track 4.0. That's similar to, hopefully, I hope it's not the light version, but a full version similar to Mavic 3. Okay, so the newest drone, very expensive by the way, almost $2,500 Canadian. If you want the combo, it'll be $3,000. But that drone allow you to have a decent active track 4.0. It's a firmware upgrade recently, shows the quality amazingly great. So hopefully the Mavic Mini 3 will be similar to that. The optical avoidance, it has a front-facing sensor and the bottom and the top, so it's able to detect the top, bottom, and front. Now, the only thing, it doesn't have the back or the side, so you got to be careful when you're flying these drones. But for me, when I'm filming, usually in the open field by myself, as it follows me, it doesn't really matter. So that's great. It can do 4K 60 frames per second. Most of you probably like, woo! For me, I'm okay with that. For me, it's more like 1080p 60 120 is great. 4K 25 24 frames per second is great. This is an extra feature that most of you may want. For me, I'm okay with that. For me, like eventually when I do the editing and all that, it will be in a 1080p timeline anyway. So the 4K allows me to zoom in. That's the only thing that, you know, is special about that 4K feature. Number 6 is to film in CineD like video. So that gives you like that cinematic look to it. Okay, so it's baked in. Hopefully, you know, you're able to do some more color grading in that. I think it's less colored, so you can actually do better color grading in post. So hopefully that's the case. For me, I really don't care so much about being able to color grade it. I really like it the way it is as I film it. Maybe just adjustment of basic color grading. So the CineD, like, you know, as long as, you know, you get the good quality image right away, I'm happy with that. Number 7, of course, is the battery life. 34 minutes. Now that's in their specs, but I believe it's going to be less than that. In reality, most likely, you know, between 25 to 30 minutes. So that's okay with me compared to my Mavic Air version 1. This can only do around 20 minutes. So it's like 5 to maybe 10 minutes more than this drone here. So that is like so convincing for me to get this micro drone. I was looking forward to this type of micro drone because ability to fly closer, maybe even a shot that's over me, like so I can, as I walk. So this is great for filming, and it allows me to film my actor as well closer than normal. Okay, this is a feature that gives a lot of flexibility in my filming, and that's why this will be my last drone to purchase, the micro drone. Now, I'm not going to buy it just yet. I want these professional video drone pilot to test it out for me. And number 1, of course, is that, is the active track 4.0 really good? I mean, as good as the Mavic 3? That's the question I have. You know, as long as it's able to keep track of me when I'm walking or running or riding my bicycle in the open field, I'm happy with that. Okay, if it can do that, you know, 99% pretty good, you know, be able to keep track of me, I'm doing that. This is a win for me. Number 2, of course, that is the optical avoidance good enough that it won't crash into an object. This is important to me as well because I don't want to pay an extra hundreds of dollars to get it fixed if it's broken, right? So that's important to me, that the optical avoidance is, you know, great for the front, up and down. As long as I know that, then I know that not to fly backwards or, let's say, fly on a side. It's important because remember, in optical avoidance, when it's trying to avoid it, will go backwards. So you make sure that you don't fly to 2 different objects on the back and the front. As long as just the front, it can avoid it. And then when you go through the back, you know, it cannot sense that. So you got to make sure that there's nothing at the back. Another thing is the price. The price is not so important to me, but of course I have to be realistic about it. It can't be over, you know, $1,500 as expensive as my Mavic 2 Pro here. There's no way I'm going to buy that if it's going to be that expensive. Especially, you know, this one I got it used and I was able to get for almost half the price. Okay, so that's why I'm saying no. If it's over, you know, $1,200, no way. Lastly, of course, is the wind test. This is a micro drone, by the way. It's 250 grams or less, and so therefore you don't want to fly in heavy winds. I'm hoping that somebody will test that, how much it can resist wind. I would never fly this micro drone further than 100 feet or 50 meters, okay? This is something I would try to avoid because the key feature of this drone is that I can fly closer to me. If I want, further shot, I would actually take my Phantom 4 Pro V2 or the Mavic 2 Pro to fly further away, because these are bigger drone. It can resist very heavy wind. And so these are the drone I would fly rather than the micro drone or even Mavic Air. So I've been using Mavic Air to shoot something like, within 50 meter or 100 feet away. And that's okay with me, and because I can control it. Because remember, this Mavic Air version 1 is using the enhanced Wi-Fi technology. Whereas I believe the Mavic Mini 3 is using OcuSync version 3 or 2. I'm not sure. I will have to look at the official spec and find out. But anyway, as you can see, these are amazing features. I'm looking forward to it. I'll let all these professional drone pilots test it out. Hopefully there's no quirks in the software, because that's very important, making sure the software works well. Another thing, I forgot to mention, is the master shot that is also available in this micro drone, the Mavic Mini 3 Pro, similar to the Mavic 3, which is amazing. The master shot will give you a ability to do an automatic cinematic filming that all you do is press that button and it does it for you. Just make sure that you have an open field and you plan your shot well, and this is going to be an amazing drone to have. So as long as you have one of these drones, it doesn't have to be like the latest greatest Mavic Air 2S or Mavic 3. I think the older drone would be great, and add this to your cinematic tools. I think this is going to be an awesome drone to collect. So hopefully I'll get access to this drone soon, maybe in about a month or two. I will be a little bit later than other people because I do want to see how it performs. Then I'll buy it, and then I'm going to test it, and I'll have a few videos out for you to see compared to my Mavic Air 1. I love my Mavic Air 1, by the way. The color coming from this straight away is awesome. Now the thing is, I have to be careful when I fly more than 50 meters away, because the Wi-Fi signal is not great, and also the wind factor here. Okay, so if I do fly further away, I take these two drones with me. All right, we'll talk to you soon, and don't forget to subscribe. I'll see you next time. Bye.